My name is Meah. I came to Royal Brompton Hospital to do my nursing training in October 1975, and I haven't left the hospital since then. It will be 42 years.
And how did you find yourself in the school?
When the training was totally different from the present. Training is very good now compared during my time, because we were just being told what to do. We were just told by the senior nurse, this is what you do, without asking any questions. But now it's much better. You only do it when you think it's right, and that's a reason for doing it. But during my training, if the senior nurse says you do it, we just go ahead and do it, no asking any questions.
So would you say that maybe now the students are more valued?
During my time, we were like in the army training. We are not allowed to tell the patients our first name. Patient got to call us by nurse so-and-so, whereas now it's easier to talk to the patients. If the senior sister heard that a patient call you by that name, you will be reprimanded. That is not allowed at all. Patient-nurse relationship is much better.
Okay. And what about the NHS in general? How do you feel about it?
I think the government should pay a little bit more money into what we have at the moment, because there is a lot of waiting lists for patients to be seen.
Have you ever had any children or like a family during your career?
Oh yeah, I've got two boys.
How has it been to match your career as a nurse and a mother?
It was quite difficult during my time, because it's not easy to find a childminder to look after them as well when you do shift work. After my first son was born, I just did part-time, because it's just impossible to find somebody to look after him. Compared with nowadays, you've got flexibility, what hours you want to do. It was difficult. It wasn't easy working as a nurse, working part-time. So a lot have changed in that sense. I'm talking only at the Brompton. Majority of the senior nurses during my time, they are not married. They are mostly singles.
Okay.
So I don't think they will understand.
Did you have any help from your family while you worked and had your children?
Yes, I did. I managed to get my mum over for a year or so. Being a single parent as well, it wasn't easy, because sometimes by the time you work part-time, you pay the childminder, there is nothing left.
It's a long way for your mum to come all the way from Malaysia to here. Another thing I wanted to ask you, the relationship that you had with other nurses or doctors or anybody here at Brompton, how has that been in your experience?
Obviously, during my time, you respect the doctors more. You won't call the doctor by their first name, the consultant. Okay. I'm talking about the consultant. You always say Dr. so-and-so, whereas nowadays you can call them by the first name, and I find that they're more friendly. I can talk to any of the consultants easily. Maybe because I have lots of experience as a nurse for the last 42 years. I think that's one reason as well. And I know some of the consultants for almost 30 years, so which helps a lot.
Yeah. What is a tough thing that you can remember of being a nurse on the ward?
I think the tough time is when I was working on the ward. I think we have what we call a pool of nurses, whereas if there's not enough nurses, you'll be told to go to that particular ward. And I've been put in a situation where I was being put into pediatrics, which I don't know much about it, and I found it difficult to deal with. But that was you're talking about 30 odd years ago, so things are totally different now.
Yeah.
That's the toughest time I had, when you're put into an area which you're not familiarized with. But at that time, we never asked any questions. We just go ahead and do what we were told to do.
So would you say that now people specialize more before they are put into...
And nowadays, if I'm not happy of what I'm doing, I won't do it. I need to know the reason why I'm doing this. And to me, patient safety is number one. For a good example, when there is a pressure source on a patient, we were just told to put egg white on the patient's bum and squirt oxygen without even asking. I don't think there's any research done on it. We were just told to do it because the senior told us to do it. That's how it's done. Fresh egg white.
Yeah, it's a very different practice to what
totally
I would
different
imagine.
Practice. Totally different. And then good example is during that time also lots of nurses would have back pain, because we would do what we call an Australian lift. Just imagine you have somebody that might be 5'6" working with somebody who's 4'11" to lift a heavy patient. and the bed is just one level, not like the present time.
Well, now
There's lots
hoists.
of equipment, hoists, all sorts of aids that will be able to help you to move them. There were lots of injuries during my time of training.
So before we end, is there any particular story that you'd like to tell, or some memory?
Mom is a good cook. She do cooking at home to sell it, what we call like hawker stores. And I got friends working in different departments, and they will say, "Oh, what is Mom cooking today?" So it'll be fried noodles or rice, and they will take the order for me, and then I will then take the order. Mom will cook it at home, and then during my lunchtime, I'll be running around with my little container to deliver it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's usually like Monday. Most of the orders comes from theatre. Obviously, it's home cooked food, so they love it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and it was so cheap as well. I can remember it's only like £1.20.
Okay.
That is a whole meal.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah. Something for Mom to do, really.
Yeah.
If you can't do it now, you'll be health and safety. I can say we used to have a lovely tennis court on the North Block, and we used to sit out there and have our lunch, and we had a very nice big sitting room in the North Block facing the main road of Fulham, and then we always take our patients there so they can sit and watch the world goes by.
Yeah.